Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'm super excited because we have Rebekah Painter talking to us tonight about retention. And the reason that I asked her to talk to us about retention is because she's only had one person who has decided that Plexus was not the right time. It wasn't the right time for her to do Plexus, but she still loved the products. One person out of all the people she signed up. And that is quality customer service, and that is taking care of your people. And we want to learn how to do that better because that's how you grow a team. So I'm super excited to hear from her. Rebekah, take it away.
Okay, so I'm Rebekah Painter, like Jana said. I'm a silver ambassador, and I have only had one person quit, and that was just for financial reasons. She absolutely loves the product and does want to return in the future. That being said, I don't have a huge team under me. I have 7 people. So I know that people are going to fall off. It's inevitable. But some things that I do that are going to hopefully prevent more of that, I'll talk about tonight. And I know that what I'm going to say, you've probably heard a lot of it, but I'll give it a go and maybe you'll hear something that you haven't yet heard before. So I think one of the most important things with my team is relationship. And that's not only just for my team, but in life. I seek to put relationship before anything else. Um, so one of the things that I do that, just generally speaking, all those on my team, I want to come across genuine, be open with them, um, just keep communication going, love on them, and just be available all the time for them. So some specific ways that I would do that. In the beginning, of course, I would check in on them more frequently. And then depending on how things are going with them, I would taper off and always personalize it. There's no black and white thing with anyone. It's not like everyone that joins, I'm going to check in on them every day in the beginning and then every 2 days a second week or anything like that. I look at the individual and I even may ask them at some point, do you like how often you're hearing from me? Do you wish to hear from me more often or less often? Just so I get a feel for what their needs are. I also talk to them in the beginning about their why. If we haven't already discussed that, then I encourage them to think about why they have chosen Plexus, whether it be health reasons or financial reasons or both. Then I talk to them about that. I share my why with them, and I encourage them to write it down. That's the key sometimes is getting them to write that down because a lot of people say, well, I know why I'm doing it. But if you have it in writing, then they're more likely to look at that again, revisit it, and use it for motivation to keep going. I have mine, I show mine to them, and I have it on my refrigerator as a reminder all the time. Let's see. Oh, and I know we have always discussed their specific health reasons for joining Plexus, and so I will have already known what have they've been dealing with, and so I will revisit that in the future. Instead of just going to them and saying, hey, how's it going? Then I will ask about that specific health issue often and see if it's getting better. I talk to them about specific ways that Plexus has helped me health-wise because sometimes they won't even notice the subtle changes in the beginning. And if I point those out in myself, then they may be like, oh yeah, I did realize that my sugar cravings have been less and or I haven't had a headache in like a week, and they just may not have realized that that's attributed to them starting Plexus. So just pointing out those little things I think in the very beginning is a big deal because they may be looking for some big, huge change to be happening, and it takes time. And I know I've said before that I tell them in the beginning, yes, we do have that 60-day money back guarantee, but I want you to realize that sometimes certain health issues will take even longer than that, up to 90 days. So I want them to know that that is realistic. Another thing with my team is I do pray for them, and I don't just say, hey, I'm praying for you. I actually will, if I'm messaging them, then I will actually type out the prayer. And that's very important to me to do, because I have had people that will say to me, I'm praying for you, and then I may not even hear from them after that. You don't know if they really have or if they've just kind of said that. So I want them to visually see what specifically it is I'm praying for. And if they've asked me for a specific prayer request, then they can rest assured that I am actually praying for that. And then also typing that out reminds me of what to ask for and follow up on in the future with how those things are going. I also love to, since I have a smaller team at this time, I love to schedule one-on-one time with them. So I schedule whether it's a phone call with them to just chat, get to know them better, or I will have lunch dates with them. I love doing that just to strengthen our relationship. When you have a strong bond like that with your team, then they're less likely, I think, to be able to fall away. Let's see. Oh, one thing that I have not yet done that I am going to start doing is sending snail mail, because, I mean, who doesn't love snail mail? Because all you get nowadays in your mailbox is bills usually, and we're all excited about our Plexus packages when those come. But I think it would be awesome to start just sending random thinking of you notes, handwritten notes in the mail. So that's just a personal touch to do it. And then in addition to that personal touch, I'm going to start recognizing them on their birthdays, not just writing a little happy B-Day on their timeline, but maybe a call or a voice message or even a card sent in the mail, something like that. And then also not forgetting about them in the holidays. So just little things like that, any excuse I can find to keep in touch with them. Let's see. Just looking at my notes here. Oh, also just recognizing any achievement of any kind, not just with Plexus, but anything that maybe they have done, a goal that they've had in life, then just recognizing that in some way or another. So I don't know if any of you watched Rachel Rogers on the Rock the Pink Live, but a lot of what she was saying, she was talking about adding 24 ambassadors within a couple of weeks. And a lot of what she was saying and how she did that was relational, building relationships with people. And one thing that she had also talked about was not reinventing the wheel, just being duplicatable for your team. So making easy ways for them to follow along in your tracks. So that's another thing I think is very important, is just making sure that what you're doing is not complicated, that it's very clear. So people may have all these resources, you add them to all the group pages, and you give them, the instructions in their back office and say, okay, well, you've got this, this, and this option. But that can be really overwhelming if they don't know what to do with all of that. So I kind of get a feel, some of them are like good to go. They're, very independent learners, and they can just track through all of that. But other people really need a lot of guidance. And so I think it's important to point out the most important things, what their priority would be if they're wanting to build their business. Then I would kind of lay it out for them and where to begin, so that it's a little bit easy for them. Let's see. Another important thing, and I know Shelby did this with me, was encouraging them to speak daily affirmations. And I know several of you are already familiar with that. But just giving them ideas and how to do that with either an app or other ways, writing it down. Some people really want to just use pen and paper and write those things down. And I found online this 26 questions to help you know yourself better. And I'm going to send that out to a few of them just for personal development. They, of course, don't have to do it, but just little activities like that to keep them engaged, I think is really great for them. One last thing I will say is stress is just to make sure that you keep it individualized, get to know each individual one as much as you can. And like I said, with a smaller team, you can do this. And then as you get larger, it's going to be a little more complicated. But as much as you can, know your team, speak to them in their love language. So I know that giving gifts is really awesome, and a lot of people like to receive gifts, but that's not everyone's love language. So if you can find their love language, then I would try to use that in order to build your relationship with them. So. I can't hear you, Jana.
Oh, sorry. I
There you
muted
go.
myself and then I started talking. Does anyone have any questions? Because I have a lot, but I'm going to give other people an opportunity to share. But everyone's muted. So if you do have a question, unmute yourself and you can ask it. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, Rebekah.
Yeah.
Here's some things that I loved. I'm going to start using this too, because I loved how you, when you're following up with people, you said, do you like how often you're hearing from me? I've never thought to ask them how are you and I, like, do you like me calling you all the time? I don't call them all the time, but within reason. But that's good. How do you like how often you're hearing from me? Because some people want to hear from you all the time, and some people just need once a week. And so you kind of set your follow-up depending on what they want, and it makes the experience better overall. Another thing I love that you do is individualized attention. And I know you said that I don't have a big team, I just have 7 people. But really, when you get to a larger team, you're not I have 33 level 1s, but not all of them work the business. So I give that individualized attention to the people who are investing in the business. So you go from, when you have a smaller team and you're investing in each one individually, soon when you get bigger, you're going to still individually invest into the people who are wanting the business. And you may have 33 people wanting the business, and that would be more difficult to invest all your time in. But if you have 33 people working the business, that's amazing. So I think it's a good thing to put into practice. Now you kind of set a precedence for your team. Like, this is how we work. And but as you get bigger and you have people who are wanting to work the business, it's a good idea to remember to keep, and it was a good refresher, like a reminder for me, that I need to individually give attention to all of the people who have said, I want this as a business. Now here's a question. How do you know if they're interested in the business? Do you talk about that during their why, when you ask them about their why? Or how do you know?
Yes. Usually whenever I've been talking to somebody in the beginning before they've even signed up for Plexus, I've already got a feel for their why. So that usually comes up right away. If it hasn't, it comes up usually within the first couple of weeks. I just keep in touch with them as far as, like, what are your goals with Plexus? Are you just wanting it for health? Or maybe later, if they have said, oh my gosh, I've seen so much difference in how I'm feeling, whatever specifically it is, then I will say, great, well, how do you feel about getting your products paid for? Is that something that you're interested in? So I always present the business in that way if they haven't already said to me that they're interested in it. I have had a couple that say first thing right away that they're interested in the business. So.
And then, so you talked about having a simple system of duplication once they are interested in the business. So when they are interested, what are you doing? I know you said that you have to kind of get a feel for people and some people are overwhelmed with a lot of resources and some people aren't, but do you have some kind of simple duplicatable system that, okay, you're interested in the business, so here it is. Here's what you do.
Getting there. I don't think that it's perfected by any means, since I'm, a work in progress with my business too. But I basically guide them through the Frank's list. Just the things that we've all learned in building our business. Guide them through the Frank's list and certain training videos. I encourage them to have daily action plans. Just the things that we've all already learned. I just talk to them about that too.
Cool. I really like how you say, how do you feel about getting your products paid for? It's almost like whenever with that question and then the do you like how often you're hearing from me, you're putting the ball in their court with all of those things. It's not like they tell you, oh my gosh, I don't have IBS anymore. And you're like, great, if you want to work the business, that would be me telling them, okay, great, well, you don't have IBS. So if you want to work the business, here are some ways that you could get your products paid for,
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying that, asking them questions, I think you ask really good questions, and saying, how do you feel about getting your products paid for? It's not invasive at all. They're free to say, I don't want to, and that's fine. They're still feeling great. And then if they say, I think that would be a great idea, then you can help them get their products paid for. I think that's brilliant. Figuring out the questions to ask for people is awesome. Okay, you tell people that we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, but it could realistically take 90 days for the results to happen. Do you tell them that up front before they sign up, or when do you tell them it's going to take 60 to 90 days, and do you get them to commit before signing up? And is that why they haven't fallen up yet? Is because when they experience the results, they are likely to stick around? How do you bring that up?
Well, it's been different for all of them. Some of them, if it's more me reaching out to them about Plexus, then I do tell them before they sign up that, hey, this 60-day money-back guarantee is there, and you're likely going to start to notice differences, during that time. But for this specific reason that you're starting Plexus for, it may take up to 90 days. And they all shake their heads like, yeah, I get that. I understand that. With those that have come to me, they're like ready and they're raring to go, and they don't even care to hear that. So I've just brought that up later as we're following up. So it just depends on the person.
Okay. Let's see what else I had. Oh, the 26 questions to get to know yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a like online thing? Could you put that in the comments of this call whenever I post it to the Empower page?
Yeah, I can do that.
That'd be awesome, because I feel like that would be something for me to do. I feel like that'd be something for all of us to do. I talked to Tamara Holloway. Tamara Holloway messaged me today, random, but she said that we can't help people unless they help themselves first. And I thought, that's so true. And I think by you doing that with your people, you're helping them, but also I need to help myself. I mean, you said I'm a work in progress, but I'm a work in progress too. I feel like I'm never going to perfect everything, and everything's just going to be so individualized to each person. And it's a constant work in progress. And I hope that you don't see me and think, oh, she has it all together. I don't, but I'm just constantly learning and trying to figure out the best way to do things. And I learn from all kinds of people.
I love that you said that, because I have that as I've talked to people. They do sometimes get that impression that I'm all knowing or that I have it all down pat. And so I try to tell them right away, okay, this is what I'm learning and these are my faults, so that they know it is so doable and it's duplicatable. So that's good that you said that.
Yeah, I think vulnerability is huge because um, I feel like when someone is signing up with Plexus, they're trusting you. They're trusting you with their health, and they're trusting you to make, to like let them know the best choice to make. And I think that if you're vulnerable and saying, like, yeah, I had terrible detox too. This is what happened with me. So, but after a week, it was so much better, and I haven't been sick in a year. Just get through it. I'm in it with you. We're doing this together. I think that vulnerability is huge. And so I think you're doing a great job of that. And I feel like that's why your people are sticking around, is because they see that you value relationships. And that's so crucial. Okay, let me ask you about this too. So you type out prayers to people if someone, do you do this to everybody? Like anyone?
Yeah.
Or it's, that's so cool. So if someone is saying to you, I would like to be on Plexus because I have migraines that won't quit, and would you pray for me about that? Then you immediately type out a prayer to them?
Yeah. I don't do it every single time, but I do it frequently. Um, so that they know that when I do say, yeah, I'll definitely pray for that, they know that I'm going to be praying for that because I've already established that trust. But yes, I do try to frequently actually right away type it out, so that they trust me and that they're comforted by that fact that I am actually praying. So,
That's very
and
cool.
yeah, it's not just with my Plexus team, that's with everybody.
That's cool. And I feel like that is something to touch on too. Like, you are who you are in Plexus, out of Plexus. Like, you do that to everyone. Everybody knows that you're the same. You're consistent across the board. And that, because you're the same across the board, because you are trustworthy, period, like you're just a trustworthy person, people are more likely to trust you in Plexus, and that is going to make your business more successful. So I feel like, you're working on yourself. We have to work on ourselves first, because people will only trust us with Plexus if they trust us as people first. So we are Plexus to somebody. So we have to work on ourselves. Are we trustworthy? Are we loyal? All the things that people look for in someone that they trust. And I feel like you shouldn't, I don't fake those things. Like, actually work on yourself and I'm trying to be loving today so that people will like me and so that I can get some more business. No, not that at all. But I think genuine and being authentic and being vulnerable as a person, and those are hard things to do. They're hard. I mean, they were hard for me. They were hard for me because I wanted everyone to think, I grew up wanting everyone to think that I had no faults. So telling people that you have faults was really hard for me. Now, you may not have that problem. Maybe I'm a weirdo.
No,
But
I'm the same way.
yeah, it's something you have to get used to. But I think it's attractive to people just in life. People are attracted to people, and people want to be your friend when they know that you are not, when they know that you're genuine and authentic and you're going to be vulnerable with them. And when they return the favor, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful relationship. Does anyone else have any questions? I hogged it all. Sorry. Oh, Valerie Jenkins. Amen. Oh man, this chat feature is so good. If you have a question and you want to put it in the chat thing, I always forget about that, but it's so neat because then everyone can say something if they want to. But if no one has any questions, Rebekah, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I mean that, like, wisdom. I mean, you say you're a work in progress, but we are all works in progress. And I know I learned from you talking, and I hope that you all did too. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited to see your business take off. I know it's going to be amazing, and you're doing Fabulous job.
Jen asked how I figure out their love language.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know if you have read the book, The Five Love Languages, but if you haven't, I can post that in the comments so that you can look up what those are specifically, and then just naturally in your relationship building, as you're getting to know people, you'll find that out. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Is there a quiz? Is there a love language quiz? I mean, does that exist?
yeah, they have quizzes.
Oh, that could be cool. I'm interested in that. Okay, any other questions? That was a good question, Jen.
One
Yes,
thing
okay,
oh,
sorry.
sorry. One thing I forgot to mention, it's just a quick thing, and some people may already be doing this, but before I announce on the group pages when somebody has joined, I always ask their permission first, because I have heard some people in the past say that it's really not their thing to be just put out there like that to a bunch of strangers. So I do ask their permission before I introduce them on the group pages.
That's good. I do that too. And I've had some people say, no thanks. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, I do add them to the Wellness from Within page, but that's less like, hey, everyone's here. It's more, it's subtle, but they can still get the information without being blasted everywhere. Okay, thanks so much. I'm going to stop the recording.